Yeah.
I want to make sure that people are recognition of the other professional that's here. So you do.
Thank you. How's everyone doing today? All right, let's kick this off. I mean, America is building again. How about that, right? We're excited to have you all here. I will say good morning. I know this is just a fantastic opportunity for us to have you all in the room today. And it's a pleasure to be here with you. We have an exciting outline and agenda for today's presentation. We have some amazing honored featured speakers here. I'd just like to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Sean McMaster. I'm the Senior Advisor for Secretary Duffy here for the Federal Highways Administration. I'm also the nominee for Administrator. And I'm incredibly grateful for the President and the Secretary for their support to be the next Administrator of the Federal Highway Administration. And I look forward to working with all of you in that role as soon as I'm confirmed, but hopefully a little bit in advance of that as we work towards this great effort in surface reauthorization. For now, I'd like to recognize some of our distinguished guests we have here in the room. Obviously, the Secretary Sean Duffy, Deputy Secretary Steve Bradbury, House T&I Chairman Sam Graves, House T&I Subcommittee Highways and Transit Chairman David Rouser. We actually have a couple of honored members of Congress who are here. I'd like to recognize Congressman Jefferson Shreve and Congresswoman Val Hoyle as well. Our industry partners as well, many of you here in the room are critical to the success of the department and to this effort, and representatives from around the country. This is the first time that the department has ever convened an event of this magnitude with so many of you in this room. We have a huge opportunity to shape the future of transportation with the next surface reauthorization bill. Now, if you could all please your attention to the screen behind me, as well as the monitors in the room. We have a brief video to highlight some of the amazing successes that the Secretary's actions have had to deliver on the President's promises to the American people.
Whether driving, flying, or traveling by train, no federal agency impacts Americans' daily lives and loved ones more than the Department of Transportation.
No American is going to be left behind.
Crews have been working for repairs for months after Helene caused significant destruction.
The North Carolina Department of Transportation will now be able to get construction material from the nearby Pisgah National Forest earlier than anticipated.
U.S. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy visited the site of the latest sinkhole that shut down part of I-80.
$550 million grant to break ground on this long-awaited project.
The $175 million Market Street Bridge replacement project, $221 million to rebuild.
The deal is the first of its kind in the country. Duffy says this is part of a broader effort by his department to slash regulations and encourage more construction.
Together with President Trump and the entire DOT team, I would hope to usher in a golden age of transportation.
What an amazing video. What an amazing start to this administration. And now it is my great pleasure. Please welcome me in joining and welcoming the 20th Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Sean Duffy.
Great to see you all, so many of you here, as we embark on what I think is going to be 3.5 years of absolutely transforming the way we invest and deliver on infrastructure in America. Before I start, I just do want to give a special recognition and shout out to the Texas DOT. Many of us, if we watch the news, we've seen the tragedy of the flooding in Texas. And I know that everyone's hearts and prayers are with the families who lost loved ones. But from our perspective at DOT, it's not just the emotional side. We are going to partner with Texas DOT to make sure we do our part as they go through the rebuild in Texas. And by the way, as all of you from your states have issues like that, we promise and commit to partner with all of you as we deal with disasters that are unanticipated. Listen, this is an exciting time. This is an exciting day. One, this is the first time we're bringing everyone together. By the way, this is the first of many that we want to do. It might not be as big of a group. We might do smaller group settings, but we want to have a conversation. You're going to hear from Congress later. You're going to hear from us. We want to hear from you. It's the partnership that all of us have together that are going to make the success of the next 3.5 years a reality. And I think this is unique in that you have, again, fully engaged Congress. You're all engaged. But what's unique is we have a president who actually cares about our department. He cares about building. It's great, yeah. And I'll tell you, when he called me to give me the job, he was talking about product that goes into roads, how much it costs, what we have to do to improve it. He also told me that if he could pick one department, outside of being president, but one department, he would pick the Department of Transportation. Because he did build buildings as a real estate developer, he loves the building of roads and bridges. He truly cares about it. And by the way, that is a blessing if we all do really well together. It is going to be a curse if we don't do well together, because it's maybe going to cost me my job. But he does. He wants to build big, beautiful roads and bridges that connect the country, that move our products, that move our people. That's what he wants all of us to do together, and he wants to see real progress in real projects over the course of the next 3.5 years. And so to have that kind of support from the top office is remarkable and a great opportunity for all of us. Again, presidents care about a lot of things, and President Trump does care about a lot of things, but he does care about this, so that's critically important. If we look at what America's history is and infrastructure, we have been absolutely remarkable. We built the Panama Canal. We had rail from coast to coast. We built that. We built the interstate highway system. We have a great history of delivering great projects without a ton of money and not a lot of time. And it seems like right now we celebrate filling potholes in communities, and that's a political win. I filled your potholes. Let's all give ourselves a round of applause. We're better than that. We can do better than that. And I think if we look around our country, we have spent a lot of money, and I don't think we've delivered as well as we could have. We have our roads and bridges that are becoming too old and too dilapidated. It took us 5 years to build the Hoover Dam. 5 years. 4 years to build the Golden Gate Bridge. It took 16 years and $15 billion in California high-speed rail to not lay one track. Are you kidding me? That's the American legacy right now. We can spend a lot of money and take a lot of time and not build projects. The Second Avenue project, the subway system in New York, it's going to take 4 years and $4 billion to build a mile of subway in New York. We have to do better, and we can do better. The Francis Scott Key Bridge, we all saw that went down. We haven't started reconstruction on that project. We have to do better, and we can do better. And part of that is going to be how well we all partner with the Congress as they do Surface Transportation Reauthorization, as they go through that process. We are going to communicate with them. I know you will, and we'll communicate through you to them, and they're willing and able to partner with us, which I'm excited about. But what we want to do is collaborate with all of you on 4 key pillars. We want to enhance safety, accelerate project delivery. We got to go much faster. It's part of you, but we in Congress also have to do our part as well. We have to increase opportunity, and we have to strengthen our partnerships. And that partnership strengthening happens today. And again, today is not the last day. Today is the first day of many smaller groups and many conversation and much more flow of information from you to us, because you're on the ground. When I took over as the secretary, we had 3,200 announce projects. And announcing projects is really fun, and you all get excited in your states, and like we get projects, and I got this road and I got this bridge. As you all know, the problem is it takes work to do the grant agreements. And so a lot of people have complained like we're stalling projects, we're not moving quickly. That's actually not true. Our mission is to build as quickly and as much as possible. So we're working through a historic backlog as fast as possible to make sure we can get money out the door to all of you to make sure these projects are moving and moving quickly. But what we have done is we said, listen, the Congress was very specific when they gave us this money. They gave certain guard rules and rails that we have to follow. They didn't include requirements that we have DEI or green priorities, which I think those initiatives from the last administration are going to drive up the cost for all of you as you do the project. So what we're doing before we send out grant agreements and negotiate with all of you on what those should look like is we're pulling out the DEI and the green. And again, if your states want to do that, if you all want to make that happen with your money, that's great. But with our money, we want you to build as fast, and we want to streamline the rules and regulations around what you do as much as possible. It's not just those prior requirements. We also have to look at how are we navigating NEPA, right? And other red tape and regulations that you have to comply with. So there's a role that we have at DOT. We are aggressively moving through what we can do with NEPA reform here. There's a role for Congress. And by the way, there's politics around this, right? I would tell you that it's interesting as I talk to both Democrats and Republicans in the House and the Senate, all of them, virtually all of them, are saying we need reform. Because whether you're a blue district or a blue state or a red district or a red state, all of them want more money, they want more infrastructure, and they want their projects to move more quickly. And so we're going to need their partnership to clear the deck on some of these laborious rules that make things more challenging and more difficult for us. So as we're doing NEPA, we've also reformed CAFE standards, not necessarily all in your backyard, but really important to what we're doing to try to simplify and make the process way easier for all of you to offer more deliverables. We're excited about the relationship that we have with all of you, but specifically with Texas. So we are trying to simplify and enhance our relationships with states so they can assume responsibility for environmental reviews under NEPA. So Texas has been leading the way. If you look at what we're going to do with Texas a little bit later today, I would encourage every state to take a look at that and engage in those kind of partnerships with us. Again, we think that many times the states can move faster than we can at DOT, and so if we can give you more authority with some of these dollars, all of us are going to be better off. And so we're committed to those kind of relationships and innovative thinking on how you can spend money better and deliver quicker for your communities. And so I guess in closing, I couldn't be more honored to have this position at DOT. I think what we do truly impacts the way people live their lives. How fast they get to work or from work. What kind of congestion do they have? Are their planes delayed? Are they canceled? How people move, and we saw during COVID how products move, depend on how well we execute and deliver on the money that the taxpayers have given us. And so we are truly in a space that impacts people's lives. And I think we can do a better job together. And I don't know that there's always, again, this flow of information from you're on the ground. You're the smartest people in this space. We need to take your ideas, so we need your partnership. And that's what this is about today, is the partnership that we are going to build together and communicate back and forth from us to you and from you to us. And again, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for all your engagement. I couldn't be more excited about what we're going to do, how we're going to deliver, and how we are going to engage and deliver the golden age of transportation to America with all of us working together and partnering together. And with that, thanks for being here, and I look forward to all the work we're going to do today and in the future. God bless you, and thank you so much.
thank you, Secretary Duffy, for that amazing message and that vision, and for opening this dialogue today here at the Department of Transportation. It's time to get back to basics and get America building again. We all share the same goal of making our nation the surface transportation system that's best in the world. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who I worked with in the first Trump administration, the former General Counsel and current Deputy Secretary at the U.S. Department of Transportation, and a personal friend, Steve Bradbury.
Wow, this is awesome. I mean, I think you can tell from Secretary Duffy the excitement in this building, in this administration, with this president, with this Secretary of Transportation. Wow. I mean, what an honor it is for me to be in this seat, and it's so energizing. You know, I was, as Sean mentioned, General Counsel for pretty much the first Trump administration. That was terrific. Thought coming into this job I'd pick up the ball and we'd carry on from where we were. Well, we're doing that, but there's so much more. It's another level of energy and the ambition to take on the big challenges, the big problems without fear. You've seen the Secretary talk about air traffic control rebuild and everything else he's doing on his plate. Well, Surface Transportation Reauthorization is one of those big issues. And it's just fantastic to have Sean McMaster back at the department. Sean and I worked in the first Trump administration on ideas for surface transportation reauth. They never really got to the finish line. At that point, there were some good ideas. We're starting earlier this time, and Sean is going to be the Secretary's point person with all of you on putting together ideas from the administration perspective on surface transportation reauthorization. We want to be engaged in the process all the way through. I know Congress is already working on these ideas, but I don't think we're too late. I think we're here. It's pretty good timing. We're opening the door to ideas. I think we want to function as something of a clearinghouse for getting your ideas in. I know you're already communicating them to Congress. The members of Congress, the committees are working on these issues. We want to be a partner for the president in that process. Obviously, it's for the executive branch, ultimately up to the President of the United States. President Trump will decide what legislative proposals and the specifics are that the administration wants to put forward to Congress. And then, of course, ultimately, as we all know, it's up to Congress to decide what the funding levels should be, what the programs are. But we're going to be active, and that doesn't mean we can't begin to talk about specific ideas and concepts, really air them out and have a discussion together. So you've already heard the Secretary lay out some of the broad theme priorities that we see going into the process. It's really, as Sean McMaster mentioned, a back-to-basics approach on traditional surface transportation reauthorization. And that means we really want to fund those projects that are important for the nation, for our economy, that have national importance. And we don't want to see distracting social justice requirements in there. We don't want to use infrastructure funding and programs to try to force an artificial transition in energy that is going to ruin the economy of the United States. Instead, back to basics. And the emphasis will be on safety, as the Secretary said, transportation safety. And that means we need to drive those numbers of fatalities down. We need to build new bridges and rehabilitate those aging bridges in the United States. We need to expand and improve our highways and make our interchanges safer. We need to protect the workers on the highways from interactions with traffic. We need to move forward to a reliable framework for autonomous vehicle development in this country, because ultimately that autonomous vehicle technology has the real promise to drive those fatality numbers down toward zero. We also want to fund truck parking for our truckers in this country, a critical need for safety in the United States. Also, the Secretary talked about permitting reform, streamlining that. It's project delivery. None of it makes any difference unless we deliver on those projects. And that means Congress can step in and take more significant action toward NEPA reform. Believe me, in the Trump administration, we are doing everything we can to reconsider NEPA, all the requirements, streamline them, and get the process moving. We're also trying to improve our own efficiency internally on project delivery. But Congress has a significant role. We need some statutory exclusions and exemptions from some of these requirements for projects that the people need for safety, to improve quality of life, for the national interest. And I think all of you in this room understand that. Also, opportunity. The projects we deliver are not just, I know there's a lot of stakeholders in this room, from the building industry, from the trade unions, the state DOTs. You all have an interest in getting federal support for projects that are important to you. But it's not just the people in this room that we're talking about. The projects that we will deliver support the economy and prosperity of the entire nation. Every American benefits from strong, resilient, durable transportation infrastructure. It's what the economy rides on, and that's a national interest. Finally, we really want to emphasize partnership with our states, with our state DOTs. We want to give state DOTs greater flexibility. We want to reduce the number of programs, the number of strings and conditions that are on the money that you administer, because you know what's happening on the front lines and what the people of your states and localities really need. So as part of this process today, what we're announcing is we want to be a clearinghouse for ideas. So today we're publishing a request for information for ideas on surface transportation reauthorization. So I know a lot of you are supplying ideas, sending ideas into Congress. We want to collect your ideas too. We're putting our thinking caps on with Sean and his team, focusing on what we think are great ideas, but we want to hear from you. We want to hear from the states. We want to hear from the building industry. We want to hear from the trade unions. We want to hear from every citizen interested in surface transportation reauthorization. So you will see that request for information. I'll call it a request for ideas that'll be published, and then you'll have an opportunity to comment to us. So we'll be collecting those. So please get your ideas into us. Thank you so much for coming today. This is super impressive, super energizing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for those energizing words and further outlining some of the priorities here at the department. Like he said, your input is going to be critical for us to properly contextualize all of the changes we all want to see to make our transportation infrastructure the envy of the world. And now I'd like to introduce our next speaker. Please join me in welcoming the Missouri representative from the 6th Congressional District, chairman of our House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, where he leads the House's efforts on all modes of transportation. Transportation Chairman Sam Graves.
Thank you very much. It's encouraging, and I do want to thank Sean for inviting me over and for his leadership here at DOT. But I'm hearing a lot of the same themes that we're using in the House, which is very, very good news. Once we got the big, beautiful bill done, which included, by the way, a down payment on our modernization of air traffic control, $12.5 billion. That's a down payment. We still have more money to come up with, and we will do that. And historic funding for the United States Coast Guard mission. Once we accomplish those things, and they are done, we have now moved on our priorities, surface transportation reauthorization. And I love to see the theme for today, America is Building Again, because the House, our theme for the surface transportation reauthorization is America Builds. So we're already on the same page, even though we were sooner in coming up with the idea. But we have gone through now stakeholder input, member input. We have 6,000 requests from members, 5,000 requests from stakeholders. So we're sorting through 11,000 requests right now in putting the bill together. We will hit the timeline, and that will be, we'll have it off the House floor by the end of the year. But we're working through it. We're working through it quickly. House priorities, the top priorities, 4 of them. We want to go back to basics, and that's formula funding. That's the most efficient way to get the money to the states. We want to cut the red tape. Time is money. We have got to have permitting reform, and we've got to move these projects along quicker. We have to give states flexibility. What's good for Missouri may not be good for West Virginia or for Oregon. We have to give states flexibility in doing their projects, and we have to fix the Highway Trust Fund. Obviously, efficiency is hurting the trust fund dollars going in, and EVs are simply not paying for the use of the road. We have to fix that, and that'll be the first new money in the Highway Trust Fund in 30 years. So those are our top priorities. The good news is my partner in the process, Rick Larson, who couldn't be here. He's got a previous commitment. Rick and I are going to be arm in arm. Once we have a House position, then we'll march to the Senate and present that. But Rick and I are going to do this the very same way we did FAA reauthorization. It's going to be a member-driven bill. We will be working very closely together and coming up with those priorities, and we'll have a very bipartisan bill. That's what the goal is, and that's what we intend to do, and that's what we will do. It's also going to be good to work with Senator Cruz, with Senator Capito, with Senator Whitehouse. It's going to be good to work with Cantwell, all of them. And I think we will have a very, very good piece of legislation. But thank you for allowing me to be here. This is awesome. This is great. I love the kickoff, and thank you all for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, for those kind words. We expect to move fast to try to keep up with your aggressive time frame for reauthorization. Now I'd like to turn to our final congressional speaker. He is the 7th Congressional District Representative from North Carolina. He is the chairman of the Subcommittee on Highways and Transit in the House Transportation Committee. We are excited to have him here and give us his words. Congressman David Rouzer.
Thank you very much, Sean. I kind of figured that after this lineup of speakers, being the last one to speak is kind of like being the youngest kid at the table. The hamburger's already eaten by the time the plate gets around to you. But so I thought I would share a little story. My staff is probably freaking out because that's not in their speech. By the way, I don't know where your speech is. I didn't get to see it. But you know how they run you ragged around here. Any member of Congress thinks they're the real boss, they haven't figured it out yet, let me tell you the truth. But in any event, this reminds me of the first Trump administration. I got a call from Andrew Wheeler, who was the administrator for EPA. And he said, David, I want to make a farm tour. I said, oh, that's great. And he said, I want to go and see a variety of different farms so that, we have a better understanding here at the EPA of the decisions and the rules that we put into place and how they're affecting, rural America. Which, how often does that happen? So anyhow, I call a few of my farmer friends and I said, hey, I got a favor to ask of you. I've got the administrator of the EPA wants to come and visit a few farms. And the first guy I called, there was this long pause. And he said, Rouzer, I thought you were my friend. I said, I am your friend. He said, Rouzer, you just told me that you're inviting the administrator of the EPA to my farm. You're not my friend. I said, no. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. And so anyhow, we set up these visits. Andrew Wheeler comes out, visits these farms. It was incredible. First time any farmer, it took a few of those farmers a little bit to get over the fact the EPA administrator was coming to their farm. They still weren't quite sure about it. But once he got there and he had this open dialogue and he was listening to the concerns and the challenges and the hurdles that farmers have to face every day. And it was very instructive, moving forward for the EPA. That's exactly what we've got here. Although Sean Duffy is not near as scary to the average farmer out there as Andrew Wheeler, administrator of the EPA. But that relationship was developed, and that's what we're doing here. We're developing the relationships that we need. We're getting the input that we need in order to produce the very best product that we can produce in terms of a surface reauthorization bill. No one is more committed to that than Sam Graves, the chairman of the committee, who has done incredible work all throughout. And I can speak on behalf of the rest of the committee, Republican and Democrat, that we want to get this done, and we want to get it done right. Your input, your advice is incredibly important. And so these type of forums, I can't speak for the administration, obviously, but I certainly can speak for the subcommittee, which I'm honored to chair, thanks to the chairman. We want your input, and we're going to continue to seek your input as we put together a really great bill. And then I'll finish with this thought. You know, we live in the greatest country known to mankind. What we have in this country is really, really special. And by golly, our infrastructure, our roads and bridges, our water and sewer, FAA, airline industry, all of the above, our great mariners, our infrastructure should reflect the greatness of America. So let's go do it. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman, and obviously we appreciate tremendously the support from the chairman, the committee, the Congress in these efforts. So thank you all for those remarks. I'd like to take a few moments again to thank the Secretary for bringing together this historic meeting here at the Department to discuss this critical moment we find ourselves in regarding surface transportation. I'd like to also thank our featured speakers, Deputy Secretary Steve Bradbury, Chairman Sam Graves, Representative David Rouser, and our honored guests from Congress here with us. I know you all have busy schedules, so I would be remiss if I didn't thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come here today to listen to this important message and to share in this effort here at the Department. Today is truly an exciting day at the Department. Secretary Duffy will be signing a memorandum of understanding with the Texas DOT to help build infrastructure projects faster. In conjunction with this MOU, the Department is issuing a letter to the governors nationwide urging them to follow the new national template by assuming NEPA responsibilities. The goal is to empower state DOTs to manage their own projects and remove red tape while also cutting unnecessary delays and costs. As the Secretary and the Deputy Secretary pointed out, it is critical that we hear from our stakeholders and the public. Today, the Department has opened an RFI, or a request for ideas, where we ask you to please submit your input for surface transportation reauthorization. It's posted on the DOT website and will be published in the Federal Register in the coming days. The link for everyone to submit comments can be found on the screen behind me, as well as the monitors around the room. We look forward to bringing the best ideas forward in the Department's proposal. As part of my role here at the Department, the Secretary asked me to lead our surface transportation reauthorization efforts across all modes impacted. With your help, we plan to make sure America is building again, safer, greater, and more prosperous than ever before. Thank you all for joining us. We look forward to continuing this dialogue as we plan for the future of transportation. As you're leaving, please take a moment to see the great construction equipment outside provided by DDOT, Wagman Construction, and the American Road and Transportation Builders Association. I'd also like to point out one last thing. For those of you who have been to the building in the past for events, especially in the first term, we used to have like printed backgrounds. I mean, how cool is this screen right here today? So I'd just like to give credit to our team here and the communications team for their great work and everyone who put this event together. Let's give the Secretary and our speakers another round of applause. Thank you all for coming here today. Appreciate it. Thank you.